Testament of the Wing Kai, then you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low power that.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake, I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary, Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio. The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary, Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
Following the COVID-19 vaccination, some people may experience side effects such as soreness at the injection site, chills, nausea, body aches, or a fever. But these symptoms go away after a few days. These side effects are a result of your immune system responding to the vaccine and are not a sign that you are sick with COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccines will not give you COVID. When you receive your vaccine, the health worker will advise you what to take if you are experiencing any of these side effects. Remember, these mild side effects cannot compare to you not being able to share memorable moments with your family and friends if you fall gravely ill from COVID. Vaccines bring us closer. Choose to get vaccinated.
Vaccines protect you and they protect me. Getting vaccinated is one of the most important things you can do to keep yourself and your family safe and healthy. Once enough people are immunized, opportunities for an outbreak of disease becomes very low. And if we all choose to get vaccinated, we contribute in getting back to spending quality time with our loved ones in a safe way. Choose to get vaccinated. Vaccines bring us closer.
Good morning to one and all. How are we doing this morning? I hope everybody is fine and that you had a good night rest. Yeah, I hope you had a good night and that you're ready for the challenges that today will bring. And saying good morning to Veronica Sandy. She says, good morning, Gordon Innocent Joseph. Morning, GBN, Grenada, everyone. So too is Mary E. Banks. Morning, Mary. And we're running a couple minutes behind schedule, so let's get straight into the meat of the matter. I am feeling energized this morning. I had a good church service last night. It was awesome. Once again, good morning to you, Bishop Fletcher, and the congregation of the Birch Grove New Testament Church of God. That's my home church, but my church now is the Wester Hall New Testament Church of God. Pastor Laurie and the congregation there, man. Awesome folks. I invite you to visit. Visit us one of these days, a Sunday or Wednesday night. We've got a convention coming up. Be a part, man. It's exhilarating. Yeah. Morning, Josh Hector. Explained that scripture verse last night that never realized that, I said it earlier. We like quoting that scripture. Oh, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against me shall be condemned. It's not just that part. You have to read higher up, where it says that you have to be established in an established relationship with the Creator, and then that protection is yours. Other than that, so important to do the Bible studies. Thanks again, folks. I'd never understood it like this. Good, nice. 23 minutes on to 7 o'clock. The word of the day today is that word fortitude. Fortitude. It is a noun and it is spelled F-O-R-T-I-T-U-D-E. F-O-R-T-I-T-U-D-E. Fortitude. And it is a formal word that refers to the strength of mind that enables someone to encounter danger or bear pain or adversity with courage. Less formal words with similar meanings include grit, fiber, and pluck. All right, so again, the word of the day is that word fortitude, and it is a formal word that refers to the strength of mind that enables someone to encounter danger or bear pain or adversity with courage. And we have some less formal words that, are synonymous to the word fortitude, words such as grit, fiber, pluck. We can also say intestinal fortitude or belly or gumption. You understand? Where you high your belly, boy. You could stand that? Yeah? Good, nice. Okay, so here's how we can use that word. To reach the summit of the Denali requires not only great physical strength and training, but the fortitude to persevere no matter the challenge. That's how you can use it. So you write it, learn to spell it, learn to pronounce it. Most importantly, learn how to use it. All right? I want to say, at this time, I want to say a very special happy birthday to you, Keziah Mason. Hope I have Kazila Mason out there in Munich in St. Andrew. Yeah, she's up and about early this morning celebrating her birthday today. Well, Kazila, your grandfather and grandmother and the entire home circle, they want to wish you a very, very happy birthday. And I happen to know your grandparents well, so I know they are going to do something really special for you today, okay? So have a good day at school. When you come back, open the front door with a peek, because there will be a big iced birthday cake on the table waiting for you, and maybe a bucket of KFC or something. Let me not set up my partner oven. Morning. Happy birthday to you, and Mr. Mason and your family, good morning to you as well. Let's look at the thought of the day now, and the thought for today is: the man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read them. The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read them. That's nice. You could read, but you're not reading, so you're on the same level with the man who can't read. Nice. As Oliver Samuels would say, I like how you put it. Good morning to my dad. Joe, how you doing? Miss Annie, good morning to you. All you good? Yeah, I hope everybody is fine. Daniel, good morning. Curti, Micah, Lista, Delia, Dumpling, Dillon, everybody, good morning. The entire home circle. Nice. So let's see what's buzzing this morning. And this morning, scrambling for space to traverse the sidewalk in the capital, St. George's, will soon be a thing of the past. That's good news. This government puts structures in place to relocate sidewalk vendors into the Market Square area, and the policies that will act as a deterrent to sidewalk vending. So sidewalk vending will soon be abolished. It will be a thing of the past. Also buzzing, the plot thickens. A popular NDC activist is calling for the Member of Parliament for the town of St. George, Honorable Peter David, to go nuclear for the leadership of the new National Party, the NNP. Now, in a recent public statement, the Honorable Delma Thomas, the parliamentary representative for St. Andrew Northwest, says she landed herself in hot water for suggesting Mr. David as a possible future leader of the party. You see, that one, I am putting my mouth in that one. That would get me in cattle belly crossway. Let the chips fall within me. Grenada is too much of a polarized place for that. I open my mouth in this, next thing I can't walk the road. So, as the Bajans would say, I would left it. You understand? I would let the people speak, the voice of the people. But I will still give my opinion anyways. Another successful chores visit. Now, over 70 children who suffer from heart defects were able to see the 7-member cardiology team at the National Cricket Stadium over the past 3 days. Now, GBN News, a team visited the chores group on their final day on Wednesday to get an update on the programs and its benefits to Grenadians. That's buzzing as well. A very, very commendable initiative. And finally, buzzing this morning, it is very traumatic when one's child goes missing. Now, in recent times, concerns have been expressed about the increasing number of young people, especially girls, who are listed as missing from their homes. So we're going to talk about this. There's an incident that was that circulated on social media yesterday to a very, 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 I don't know, man, that video where the 2 schoolboys from a school in St. George, in the parish of St. George. I wouldn't call the school's name, where it appears that they were in a scuffle and one got a portion of his ears bitten off or bit into or something like that. So we're going to talk this morning. We'll have a good conversation. Those of you who are on the television platform, we have the rebroadcast of last evening's television news. Those of you who are stuck here with me, we've got the AM edition of news right here. Before we go, Janice Let Joseph says, good morning to my beautiful island, Grenada. Good morning, Janice. How are you? Happy birthday to my nephew, Dondre Sandy of Telescope in St. Andrew from Sandy family of Grand Bra. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, all those of you celebrating birthday today. Let me quickly go on the WhatsApp platform. All right. Okay. Shouting happy birthday to Relvon Batiste, also known as Boy or Doc. You've got birthday greetings coming from your best friend. He is from Latant in St. David. Relvon is from Latant. Happy birthday to you. All right. Okay, go somewhere and have a drink on my name. All right. This is where we pull it. We've got to break from this segment. We'll be back after 7. Thanks for being a part of the program thus far.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. Oh, I'll be right next to you. No, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands. We got everything we need. Cause you can look to me whenever you're in need. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way. Wherever you ride, we'll be right there with you. Wherever you ride, we'll make your dreams come true. Next time, next time, next time, right next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Scrambling for space to traverse the sidewalks in the capital St. George will soon be a thing of the past. This as government puts structures in place to relocate sidewalk vendors into the Market Square area and enact policies that will act as a deterrent to sidewalk vending. Christina John was there and files this report.
We have to put back some structure into the market, some structure into the sidewalks and make it more feasible. And, you know, listen, and if you have people visiting Grenada and coming to Grenada, this have to be better than this. We have to do a better job, you know. And my ministry, the Ministry of Infrastructure, is determined to get it straight and get it right.
Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Andy Williams, as he toured the St. George's Market Square on Wednesday. He heard the concerns of vendors and has some observations on what needs to be done to make the market a more conducive, proper functioning facility.
So what I did, though, right, I'm making my duty to speak with the people, the vendors and so, in the market to find out their concerns. And what we saw, you know, the garbage and so was not properly disposed of. You have people urinating and so all over the market. You had cases where people have their speakers and all sort of things, you know. Then you have the noise pollution that people are complaining about. We have a building that is dilapidated, and apparently they have current and so in the building, you know. So we have to take care of these things. And then, from a business standpoint, you hear the cry of the vendors saying that people are not coming to the market. And part of that problem could be that people are vending on the street.
It's long overdue, the sentiments echoed by vendors both within and on the outskirts of the St. George's Market, pointing to the unoccupied booths in the market square. The minister gave this assurance.
In the upcoming weeks, I should say, we will be looking to move the people from the sidewalks and so into the market. And we're going to have a strict policy where you cannot vend on the sidewalk. It may mean that not everyone that are on the sidewalk can come into the market, but we have to start from somewhere. It means working with them to get an alternative spot, then so be it. We may get some backlash from it, but that is some of the costs we have to face for development. Ministry of MIT and Infrastructure will be working this week and next week to put a plan in place, and we are going to execute on that plan. So I would say give us a month or so, and we will have something ready to work with. But we want to do it properly, right? And whatever we do have to make sense, and it have to make sense for the vendors and for the people.
Vendors who already occupy booths and have not been paying their monthly dues for the space will most likely face consequences.
That was brought to my attention, and we'll have to meet with the vendors and have a discussion with them as to how we go forward. Because we'll have to make a decision, you know, with the booths, because there are people outside who want to vend and who are willing to pay their rent, and they have to be given a fair chance if the people that are there now do not want to comply.
The minister's next stop was at the Grenville Market. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Meanwhile, as part of the technical touring team, Derek Ramkelawan, Senior Environmental Health Officer with the Ministry of Health, made 3 keen observations for attention: the dilapidated town hall building, the need for food vendors to be certified, and the drainage issues in the market.
It's one of our main goals to have all food vendors medically certified to ensure that they protect their patrons, all right? Because there are certain persons might be carriers of foodborne illnesses, for example, typhoid, which can be transferred to individuals. It is something that we're working with Ministry of Infrastructure and MIT to have all food vendors medically certified. Thank you.
He says the accumulation of debris can fester into a much bigger problem for the town, such as flooding.
The market, looking at the structure, is a recently refurbished structure. It's a nice structure. However, it appears that there are some challenges that we observe. Number one, I would say, is the quality of cleaning the market receives, especially the drains. The drains are, appears to be clogged up. Well, not clogged, but have the accumulation of, bottle corks, garbage, plastics, and other material, and the accumulation of debris also, sand and dirt and so on. So I'm not sure the contract, if the contractor have the right equipment to perform those type of functions, but if not, they need to look, management needs to look into that to ensure that the cleaning process are enforced and properly done.
With health and safety under his ministry's purview, the environmental officer acknowledged the threat of the old facility to passers-by and the need to address it.
That structure there is the old medical station, or what they call the town hall. It's a dilapidated building. You are observing that pieces are slowly breaking and fall off. Now, in the same area where it's located, the public bathrooms are located, and persons walking and accessing the public bathroom can be injured because of the current status of the building. So the Ministry of Infrastructure and Physical Planning needs to look into this and probably have some safety nets or some safety net programs, either to demolish the building or to look at ways of refurbishing it to prevent those hazards from happening.
A popular NDC activist is calling for the Member of Parliament for the town of St. George, Peter David, to go nuclear for the leadership of the new National Party. In a recent public statement, the Honourable Delma Thomas, the parliamentary representative for St. Andrew Northwest, says she landed herself in hot water for suggesting Mr. David as a possible future leader of the party. Freelance reporter Nisha Paul is following the political intrigue as it unfolds.
There's an age-old adage that there's never a dull moment in Grenada. This holds true on many accounts, but especially on political frontiers. The shock defeat of the new National Party in last June's general elections seems to have faded into oblivion as the group seemed set to return to base and, as they say, wheel and come again. However, the chasm has been opened wide, and it's apparent that it won't be cool runnings anytime soon. MP Delma Thomas felt brave enough to stir the NNP political pot. The 3 times Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Northwest seemed to have reached boiling point last week when she shared some thoughts that were previously hidden in the deep recesses of her soul. MP for the town, Peter David, has been on her mind, and she preferred the notion that he should be considered for a transfer of the leadership of the new National Party.
Peter would have said that it is last, and he's giving up. And so the Honorable Peter David would have signaled that he will be willing to take over the reign of leadership of the party. I said to him, Doc, you know sometimes we're naive. I said, you know, when Destiny was going wrong in November of 2021, the people said that they not voting because you've been there too long. When I look at his face, I realized he was not happy with that particular statement, so I stopped. So I said to him, Doc, I will not lie for you. I did say that Peter David will be a good transitional leader. When I told him that, he lose all his cool.
Political activist Kem Jones enters the fray.
Grenadians, this is an eye-opener. This moment is a serious, serious moment for all reasonable thinking Grenadians. It's time to wake up and realize that this creature of a man is no good. No good. But you know, what I love the most is the way he's treating Peter David.
MP David joined the new National Party after being expelled as a member of the then Tillman Thomas-led NDC just over 10 years ago. Several weeks ago, he was asked in an interview with Dr. Kellen Bubb whether he had any interest in the leadership role of the party.
The party constitution allows a member of the party in good standing to put themselves up. I am giving active consideration to it. Of course, I have paid my dues. I go back a long way. My good friend Jomo knows most of my history there. I go back 50 years in politics. So I'm giving active consideration to it. Like I told Dr. Mitchell some time ago, once it is confirmed, once the party confirms the convention, once the party determines when the convention is going to be, then I'm going to make a public statement on it. But to be fair, I can't say other than that. I'm giving very much active consideration to the issue of leadership of the party, but that depends on a whole heap of variables, and you know how politics can be unpredictable. But Dr. Mitchell said he's leaving, and certainly I'm considering it.
Jones issued a challenge to David to take on the opposition leader for the leadership role.
I want to encourage Peter. Peter, do Diablo what he did to Robert Blaze, please. We want a fight in Paraclete. We want a fight in SAS. We want a fight in one of those schools of that side between you and Diablo. Take him on, challenge him, go to the different constituencies, mobilize the delegates, and make him believe that he's going to win.
The plot thickened last night as a meeting was held in the St. Andrew Northwest constituency. GBN understands that the meeting was attended by some constituents from the Northeast area and other persons from various constituencies who were transported in via bus. Although the parliamentary representative was invited, she opted to not attend. A main bone of contention has been MP Thomas's apparent cozying up to the ruling administration and her failure to communicate with party officials, especially over her attendance at parliamentary sittings. After missing the last meeting, she was present during yesterday's House of Representatives sitting. For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
Over 70 children who suffer from heart defects were able to see the 7-member cardiology team at the National Cricket Stadium over the past 3 days. GBN's news team visited the Chores Group on their final day on Wednesday to get an update on the programs and its benefits to Grenadians.
A 7-member cardiology team from the U.S. with the support of a 10-member local team saw over 70 children over the past 3 days. The youngest was just under 1 year old. The specialist falls on the Chos, who have been coming to Grenada for over 30 years. Leading the team is cardiologist Jose Teddy.
This visit, we've seen about 75 children over the past 3 days. The bulk of what we see are children with what we refer to as congenital heart disease, which means that these are heart defects that they are born with. We've identified 4 new children with congenital problems that will require an operation over the next few months, and we have a number of other children who already had their procedures that we are now doing their follow-up checks to make sure that they remain well.
Dr. Beverly Nelson, chairperson of Chos Grenada, says the 3-day visit was a success. She announced a new component of the program that attends to children who are autistic.
When we started that autism limb at the stadium the last time, I think we probably had maybe about 15 to 20 clients that we identified ourselves. But they found out throughout the length and breadth of Grenada that this was going on, and people came to that clinic in mass. We were overwhelmed, and we're talking about 40, 50, 60 persons showed up. And what it exposed to us is just how prevalent autism is.
Dr. Nelson says that with the support of GRENIC, the group was also able to procure the service of an IT specialist to build an online database for all their clients that will allow specialists from anywhere to access it.
And what we wanted to do was to create a database that will capture all of our clients, both in the special needs limb and our cardiac limb, allowing us to have the providers in the U.S. and the providers in Grenada be able to access all of the information seamlessly. And we petitioned IT person, Andre Purcell, who is now working on what is labeled as an EMR. And that EMR is currently being refined as we speak, just tweaking a little bit. And then we'll be able to sit down, put in all of the information. We already have volunteers to do that, put in all the information, and then be on our way to being able to now seamlessly, any provider anywhere can now access and be able to put their thoughts in on X or Y.
The doctor is calling for more support from the private sector to support the program. I am Rena Pitt Thomas reporting for GBN News.
Implementation Minister Andy Williams continues to make a case for his ministry amidst views expressed in some quarters that there is no need for such a ministry. Minister Williams says every government needs a ministry of mobilization, implementation, and transformation to ensure that priority projects get done. He staunchly defended the creation of the new ministry on GBN's To the Point program this morning, referencing the loss of significant grant financing for a water expansion project to service the south of the island.
There was a project called the UK SIF, which we lost. It was on the books for about 4 to 5 years. We lost $30 million in grant. Grant from the UK, grant, not a loan, grant that we lost. And that project was one supposed to really address the water situation. It's a water expansion project, which would have addressed the water situation from Concord throughout the south of the island, which we are suffering for water right now. It was also supposed to address the western main road that we have right now that need repairs. Okay. And the Molyneux was part of it. But that money is still on the books. Nothing was done.
MP Williams said the government lost the funding due to a lack of implementation.
And because of the UK, when the year started and so last year, they had a case where they were heading into a depression. They decided that they were going to cut back on some of the grants. As a result, they cut back on the UK SAFE and we lost it. I tried my best. The Ministry of Infrastructure and the Ministry of MIT, we tried our best to save it, but we had no choice. So I'm saying we need a Ministry of Implementation if we don't have that. And that ministry was there already in I think it was the revolution time with Amstel and Sean, right? We had it with Kenny Lalsing some years ago, right? But we need a Ministry of Implementation in order to work with other ministries to ensure that our projects are implemented on time.
Okay, understandable.
Minister Williams was at the time responding to criticisms from a caller during the call-in segment of this morning's To the Point program. It's very traumatic for one's child to go missing. And in recent times, concerns have been expressed about the increasing number of young people, especially girls, who are listed as missing from their homes. It's becoming a widely recognized problem. However, as we'll hear from GBN's Nisha Peters, little is being done to understand why children opt out of their usual place of abode and the causative factors. Let's cross Nisha for this analytical piece.
Panic, fear, guilt, and confusion. These are among the emotions that parents experience when they learn their child cannot be found. It is any parent's worst nightmare. Social media updates and news items about these youngsters send chills down every parent's spine. When children make absenting themselves a habit, it leaves one to wonder how to deal with such situation. Inspector Maureen John of the Special Victims Unit of the Royal Grenada Police Force says parents question, will it ever come to an end?
There are some cases where sometimes you tend to wonder whether or not this is not just going to continue to be the case until that child comes to terms with the fact that, maybe I need to stop doing this. Or where that child becomes an adult and start to take responsibility for their own actions. So there are some cases, yes, where you may start to wonder whether or not you're ever going to see the end of it because it becomes like a pattern, it becomes a cycle.
She cites the need for increased collaborative efforts to empower children.
That's where the other agencies come in. While as law enforcement, we do what we can in terms of, there are certain children that over a period of time you grow to develop, this kind of rapport which you're able to speak with them, you're able to try to empower them in a sense. But the real work of building them, giving them that psychosocial support, etc., comes from the other agencies that we work with.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Augustine Pantry says that there is a need to find out why, when a child is sighted, it is not reported.
We can empower citizens to make an arrest. I want us to tread softly and gingerly and something like that. I'm not saying it cannot work in some instances, but you have to be very cautious to empower the general public to act on behalf of the state. That's legal thing that's coming into play here.
Michelle Alexander, who is an advocate against child sexual abuse, says that measures should be put in place to help parents be better able to relate to their children.
We need to put measures in place so in case there is a repeated instance, we get to understand the trend and understand the pattern so that we'll be able to intervene, because sending back a child that ran away into a home where nothing was done to improve the conditions, maybe to help the parents as to develop ways they could relate better with that child or foster a better relationship between the parent and the child.
To date, according to the Special Victims Unit, 7 children have been reported missing and have all been found and receiving the psychosocial and other help that is needed. A United Nations report has pointed out that if children are to count on us, we must first count them. A summary proposes a 3-pronged approach, including the need to establish data as the spine of system strengthening. It says further that beyond leaving no child behind, leave no country behind should also be a key part of the approach. The report notes global support to data monitoring and capacity resembles a messy patchwork. The need for shared norms, beginning with open data, is cited as a third strategy. Common approaches are needed to measure emerging threats facing children, capturing missing child populations such as those in institutions or migrating, and share data to enable vulnerable children to be more effectively identified while protecting their privacy. Nisha Peters, GBN News.
Experts in the Ministry of Agriculture are asking livestock farmers and pet owners be mindful of rabies. The disease can lead to fatality in humans if infected by an animal. More in this report.
The Veterinary and Livestock Division in the Ministry of Agriculture is asking the public to be on guard for signs of rabies in their domestic and food animals. Domesticated animals include dogs, cats, and food animals, sheep, goats, and cattle. The experts say that immediate action is to be taken in the likely event of exposure to any infected animal, as the viral disease can spread to humans and pets if they are bitten or scratched by an infected animal.
Mongoose.
Exactly.
And mongoose.
And we seem to be having a bit of infestation with that right now.
Mongoose, yes, because mongoose in Grenada there isn't a predator for mongoose. So once they reproduce, the population keep increasing. And mongoose spread one of the most dangerous diseases it have, which is rabies. Yeah. If you're exposed and you contract rabies, there is 100% chance that you are going to die.
All right.
So early intervention and so on. There is a vaccination program for rabies. There's a procedure that would have to be instituted or activated by the casualty department.
Now tell me.
That was Environmental Officer Derek Ramhallen on GBN's To The Point program this morning. Animals infected with rabies may act strangely. They may be aggressive, try to bite you or other animals, or they may drool more than usual. A 2019 study shows that about 62% of the households in Grenada owned animals that are vulnerable to rabies. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
There's a promise for increased agricultural support for the islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and this can be realized once the funding is secured. Selena John will tell us more.
With food security and agriculture high on the agenda, the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is awaiting the green light from the World Bank to implement a one-year emergency action plan. The plan, titled the Food Security Enhancement Project, would include significant opportunities and support for stakeholders on the Sister Isles. Finance Secretary Aaron Francois outlined the ways that Carriacou and Petit Martinique will be benefiting from this project.
We want to pilot using solar technology, solar energy, and we want to see how we want to provide an opportunity for storage, because a lot of the times we produce food and sometimes with the glut, a lot spoil. So we want to have some storage systems. we have identified Karakou as being one of the beneficiaries, and I understand that you already have a facility on Karakou, and we are going to work. We will be working with the farmers cooperative to make sure that that facility is established.
This affirmation of support also came from the Minister of Agriculture, Senator Adrian Thomas, who was accompanied by a technical team to the Sister Isle to consult with stakeholders there. This forms part of the transformational project that are expected to yield positive impacts on production and added benefits to farmers and agri-processors.
Agriculture is no longer, you cannot present it as cutlass and fork. While cutlass and fork is tradition and we must know how to use it, but we have to go a step higher. We have to go in areas in terms of modernizing agriculture. The modernized way of doing it, we have to, as a nation, we have to explore, because if we want to compete, we must be up and running.
Stakeholders had the opportunity to identify possible areas for improved support from the Ministry of Agriculture. Although the efforts of farmers, fishers, and agro-processors in Karakou and Petite Martinique were commended, several challenges needs to be addressed.
I would like to suggest a seed bank in the time of genetically modified seeds that we're losing our indigenous species. Can we start up a seed bank where we have okra seeds and corn seeds and pea seeds and whatever it is? Because in a few years from now, we may not be able to find our local breeds because everybody's genetically modifying everything.
The legislative reach for the NTF in terms of where the money is distributed, whether it can be put towards agricultural products, because when you go on their website, you see, okay, the approved products, everything is all infrastructure. I'm not saying we don't need buildings. I'm not saying we don't need this, that, and the third, but we cannot eat money, we cannot eat corn.
That we have to look at some enabling legislation, whether it is external, the Ministry of External Affairs, the Ministry of Fisheries, and so forth, with St. Vincent, so that we will have some enabling legislation, not just for the management of the resource, but for the better collaboration between fishers here in PM and Karakou and those in St. Vincent. We actually had an interesting discussion with folks from St. Vincent, and they are all for it.
Extensive support will also be provided for agro-processors through equipment and improving access to packaging materials, as well as facility upgrades for several agro-processors. Other components that Karakou and Petite Martinique is expected to benefit from include the provision of planting materials, access to water, plowing services, labor, and fertilizers. Christelina John, GBN News.
Tonight's ISAW report takes us over to the sister island of Karakou, where a project is being undertaken to remove a ship that's been wrecked on the Lauriston beach behind sands for almost 10 years. It's time for GBN ISAW.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISAW is brought to you by Clear Vision.
Life is beautiful if only you can see it. Clear Vision Eye Center helps you do just that. We provide expert service, classy eye.
The wreck removal is part of the Lauriston Rehabilitation and Restoration Project under the Enhancement Direct Access Project. The project is funded by the Green Climate Fund and the Government of Grenada. Another component of the project is the replanting of mangrove trees. The overall goal of the project is to increase the resilience of coastal areas along the Lauriston Main Road to Lauriston Point and to reduce and reverse the ongoing impacts of climate change on the sensitive coastal area. Work is being done by Sky Construction. Send your photos and video submissions to our ISAW line at 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
One's WeatherGuard Pro. For every project, there's only one Pro.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to the segment of Good Morning Grenada. We usually refer to this segment as The Conversation, and it's time for us to talk. Yeah, we are expecting a guest this morning. She's yet to show up, so when she gets here, if she gets here, we'll definitely bring her on the set. But in the meantime, let's just get into this. Quickly recapping the word of the day for today. The word was fortitude, and we hear that it is a formal word that refers to, let me do this first, right. It's a formal word that refers to the strength of mind that enables someone to encounter danger or bear pain or adversity with courage. There are some less formal words that can be used or interchanged. We refer to them as synonyms, words with similar meaning. Words such as grit, fiber, and pluck. I added my own intestinal fortitude, belly, guts. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, the thought of the day: the man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read them. So we've got some stories, we've got some issues burning this morning. The sidewalk vending to be abolished. I know folks would like to expound on that. It's about time. There are varying views on that. One set of people would say, okay, well, the vendors on the sidewalk, they need to survive, they need to live, they have to maintain their families. There are those who are saying, okay, well, you can maintain your families, but you have to do it in an appropriate place. And governments get tied into this and saying, okay, well, you need to provide the place for the vendors to go. So I want to hear your take on this. Also, this morning we hear that the popular NDC activist is calling for the Member of Parliament for the town of St. George, Honorable Peter David, to go nuclear for the leadership of the new National Party. All right. So the activist is calling on Pedro to go after the leadership of NNP. That is a buzzing story. All right. Over 70 children who suffer from heart defects were able to see the 7-member cardiology team at the National Cricket Stadium over the past 3 days. Local CHORS representative Dr. Beverly Nelson spoke on that. And it is very traumatic when one's child goes missing. In recent times, concerns have been raised about the increasing number of young people, especially girls, who were listed as missing from their homes. And I also want to zero in on that video that made the rounds on social media with that fight with the 2 schoolboys. I refuse to call the name of the school, but yeah, there's a fight that was taking place, and it was evident that one of the boys got his ears or part of his ear bitten off. And I guess, good morning, caller. Okay. 435-2041. That's the number. And quickly, Yulin Alexander says, good morning, Gordon. Good morning, Grenada, Karakupidi Martinic. Blessings to all on this beautiful Thursday. Have a wonderful, productive day ahead. Stay safe, everyone. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Edison. Morning to your viewers and listeners. It's interesting that you mentioned the incident with the video. I'm not one of those who get caught up in video, but somebody sent it to me, and I tried to get the person to verify it, but it looked very disturbing, and it ties in very much with what my theme for this week. The issue of crime and violence, or the issue of violence particularly, we've seen coming out of the meeting, the symposium in Trinidad, a commitment or a statement by the CARICOM, led by the head person for crime, Dr. Keith Rowley, stating that the leaders have declared war on guns. Now, we know it's not guns that were used in that incident yesterday or so, but, I mean, any weapon, any situation where violence ensues, we should be concerned about. My concern is that we have declared war on many things, including drugs. And after many 30 years, like for instance, in the United States, as war was declared on alcohol in years before, nothing comes out of it. But we're still in the habit of declaring war. To me, the current situation is like to declare war and ask the U.S. for assistance is like going to the mafia and asking for peace. When the mafia is the source of the as in mafia movie, is the source of the violence. So I'm very disappointed that we really are not serious of stemming the violence and crime, violence in particular in the Caribbean, because the main perpetrator, the main instigator of crime is the same country that we're going to look for to help. Who is producing the arms? And the arms producers have an address.
So don't you think? Okay, let me ask you. Let me use a situation. All right, you're neighbor to someone, and that neighbor has an uncontrolled drain that has the water running down into your yard. You don't think it's fitting that you go to them and say, "Hey, fix that drain"?
But if in that, I hear what you're saying, and that is, in fact, what your colleague said yesterday, we need dialogue. I agree with him. But in this case, what I'm saying is known that even every time there's a shooting in the States and they say, let's have what's called gun control, that never get nothing done because gun production in the United States is business, big business. So how are you going to go to the people who producing the guns in the first instance to tell them, well, stop producing the guns? They don't care where the guns end up. They know America is a society where it doesn't matter what it does. Once it results in death, whether it's in war, in the food they sell people and everything. So why are we going to the source of the main source? No, we have to take responsibility and know, and we have to reorganize how we do life in these parts. We are creating deserts of people who dispossess and everything else, and expect that nothing happen. We have to make sure that we minimize that and don't ghettoize the society. I mean the Caribbean island. So the whole thing. I think we should have a real conversation on that.
Okay.
I'm seeing trouble ahead. Please.
Okay.
Those who have some can do something. Let us find a way without going back to the devil to ask for relief. Thank you.
Okay, caller. Thank you. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock, that is the time. 435-2041 is the number to call. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Let your voice be heard. Yeah. A WhatsApp user says, "Good morning, Mr. Innocent, my friend. Please be careful. The activist of whom you speak is not an NDC activist. He has said it over and over. He is an independent activist and doesn't even want to support from the party, so no one could control what he says. However, he may be a supporter of the NDC like many other Grenadians." Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Innocent, and how are you?
I am alive and very thankful for life. How about you?
I am pretty okay. I just joined the program, so I'm not exactly sure what the topic of discussion. But I really cannot complete my day if I do not call to talk about how sick that violent video in that school has made me as a parent.
Yeah.
Now, we cannot label one factor as the factor. But since the Caribbean start running to these funding agencies that determine our curriculum and determine how we discipline our children, we're going astray, and it's going to get worse unless and until we reverse it. I am sick to the core.
I could hear it.
Parents, having watched that video, I am sick to the core. My stomach is churning. I want to bring everything back up. I'm sick to the core. And I'm saying we need to address the situation. We have to bring back discipline at home. We have to bring back discipline in the school. We have to stop this crap that every time there is an issue in the school, parents and children run to the Ministry of Education and they are given rights. What do we want worse to happen? We have to take back our society the way we know it. And I know some people are going to call and say discipline in school was at the extreme. So what have we done? Move from one extreme to the next?
Right.
No, we can't afford that, innocent. And another thing that we also need to address, there are too many parents that are not parenting children. A lot of children, I'm not saying all, but a lot of children are growing up as wild animals or flowers. There is not the prayer. There is not the communicating with children. There is not the discussing of issues. Children are growing up on their own. I don't know what led to such a situation, but under no terms and conditions it's justified. As a Grenadian, it's burning my heart. Let me give you one classic example. I know a parent. She has 2 children, both of them in secondary school. She said to me, one child is very willing and obedient. The other child don't want to do any chore at home than lie down on his bed, come and dish out food, just eat, don't do chores. And because there is conflict between the mother and the father is calling social development. And social development, when she tries to discipline that child, social development is threatening to take the child from her because she's abusing the child. What is wrong with these people? To discipline your child is abuse? Yeah. And that is what we are reaping today. Tell social development and all previous education ministers or officers of government who sign on to funding agency that determines that they tell us how to discipline our children to back off. We don't need this in Grenada. Nice. We don't need this in the Caribbean. And I want to make one final point. There is so much bullying and issues in school. The aggressor is not always the instigator. I want to make that point very clear because a lot of children end up in fights because they are pushed. They are bullied. So let us not watch. I take one glance at that video and I'm still sick.
Yeah.
One glance.
I couldn't watch it to the end.
I couldn't watch it.
I couldn't. Yeah.
I have goosebumps all over my body now. I'm a parent.
I hear your
in society.
I hear your pain. I feel your pain. What can we do?
Let me give you another example, innocent. There was a recent incident at the GBSS. Okay? We all know how ugly and nasty it is.
Hush, don't talk.
Would you believe, I understand from reliable source investigating the incidents, that one, how you call them again? In the Ministry of Education, going to make a remark, it is not unusual for children to be engaged in this behavior. You don't see
that's demonic. Okay.
These people.
Okay, caller. I get your drift.
Christ, blood of Jesus on this nation. Lord Jesus.
Okay, could I ask you a favor now?
Wait, hold on. Principals need to look at the way assembly is conducted. Just singing and jumping up songs to Jesus and reaching some children. We need a lot more silent prayer. We need a lot more God. You are created by God and for God, and you should live for God, and parents disciplining their children. Anyway, I hush because I need more than 4 hours. I am so upset. Let me hear your story.
I want you to take the day off today and fast and intercede on the school children's behalf, all right? Could you do that? Okay. Have a good day, lady. Oh, my goodness. This one was passionate. I could hear it in her voice. I saw it with my own mouth. She was... Folks, it's 30 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's take a commercial break. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
So it begins, a journey like none other. Every moment has the potential to be unforgettable. Bring home a piece of the tropical green forest with every emerald. Capture the sparkling light of flawless water in a diamond. Make the sunrise and sunsets last forever. With precious colored gemstones, the essence of happiness is in our most precious memories. So, when it all comes to an end, bring home something that will last forever. Colombian Emeralds International. Bring home more than a memory.
Kirikou Maroon and String Band Music Festival, Friday, April 28th to Sunday the 30th. 3 days of intense and rich cultural diversity on display. Day 1, Friday, April 28th, Bialo Village, 6 a.m. Opening rituals, wetting of the ground and blowing the shell. 3 p.m. Sharing of the smoked food, Saraka style, into the flambeau parade and official opening ceremony. Day 2, Saturday from 11 a.m. Strings in the city. Downtown Hillsborough transforms with the sweetness of live string band music. Then at 7:30 p.m. we all journey to the Botanical Gardens for cultural explosion. And the night ends with a stirring performance from Sabrina Francis and Solid, the band. Sunday, April 30th. Day 3, Sunday's party night. It's all about the bands. From 4 p.m. at Paradise Beach, come see performances from cultural groups and Kirikou's live bands. It's a long weekend, so we're gonna make it an all-nighter. Saturday tickets cost $40. Sunday tickets cost $20. Groups of 10 pays a special price, $50. Kirikou Maroon and String Band Music Festival. Let's celebrate our traditions and culture. They fortify us against adversities.
Girl, the children are growing up so fast. When I leave here, I am going to take Tevin to get his MMR vaccine.
Kayla was supposed to have another appointment for that same vaccine. But Natalie, I'm not sure. On social media, they're saying that it's not safe. Plus, I can afford to miss work.
Girl, the vaccines are safe for decades. They protect our children. You got vaccinated, and I'm sure you're all right.
Yes, but these diseases aren't out now.
Grenada is open to childhood diseases from all over the world. Today, we have a choice to get our children vaccinated or not. Go get it done, girl. It won't take long.
I suppose so. Anything for my princess.
I want to be protected.
Check your doctor or the Ministry of Health to get the information on immunization against childhood diseases, including HPV and polio, and COVID-19 for elderly persons and persons living with non-communicable diseases.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, to the conversation. It's 26 minutes on to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock workers, I hope that you're close to your workplace already. You're surprised your boss today reached extra early, you know? Yeah, you might just get a little, you can tell you get a little promotion or a little special gift. Let's head back to the telephone line right away. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good afternoon. Good morning, innocent walk by good things ahead on the day up already.
Well, I trying to figure that out,
I want to make you laugh this morning, These children and them, they ain't reading, Because if they used to read, they would have read the story of the man that cut out the mayonnaise, and same time Jesus pick it up and stick it back. They always doing wrong thing when Jesus not around. Watch how much of them have 1.5 hand. If they did do that in Jesus' time, in Jesus' presence, he would have stick back the hand now. Is cutting out now. Jesus not around. They go and cut out. So that won't stick back. So I want them to read the story and do the thing when Jesus around. So is go stick back and hand going to stick back.
Yeah, but you trivialize this thing. What is your real honest take as a parent of that video you saw?
What I like to tell you, some parents just try, but perhaps they're not getting in the mind of the children.
But why?
And you see the children and them, they're drinking too much of spirit. So when the spirit go in their head, they're thinking they're doing anything. It's just to lash back. You know what I mean? They don't know how to leave you for later. They want to eat you right now. So if the parents will try to get it in the head, we will always have that going around because it's not nice. Your own friend, your own brothers and sisters, your own partner, and you're so hostile against them. So what?
Let me ask you another question. I'm going to put you on the spot this morning. You have children, right?
Yes, 3 boys, 1 girl.
Do you expect that kind of behavior from any of your children?
Well, as I tell you, they are not in their mind. But growing up, right now, all man is man and woman, and actually. But innocent, we used to have, I as a mother, single mother, I used to have time with my children, and then we used to roll on the ground. We used to kneel down in front of the bed in the morning time and pray. So they grow out this hairstyle. I never hear any one of them cut out hand or cut out age. So we had a good rapport, no. But right now, as a man and woman, I don't know what they're going to do. I can't say they won't do that.
Okay.
But in young age, growing up, I could have said, well, I try my best. We pray together, we lie down. This one want to touch parents. Children now can't even touch their parents. I had two boys, and one used to hold the left breast, and the next one, and mommy, and that one is mine, and don't put you having fun with them children and them, but no, them children and them and their own for themselves, they don't even see parents pass only for the night, and whole day they roaming. So we as parents have to try to interact with our boys and our girls, and perhaps they may be able to interact with their friends.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh boy, she touched a very sensitive note. But there's something that she said, and I keep hearing that phrase too often. Single parent. What is a single parent? 2 people get involved to make a child. Oh, all of a sudden you're having a single parent. In any case, that is another conversation that I want us to have one of these days. This single parent. What happened? You had artificial insemination or something? Oh, you 2 people that make a child. That's what I know. I'm hearing too much about this single parent thing nowadays. There's another thing that another point that she raised that I think is very, very salient in that, I mean, it's no secret I grew up with my grandmother, and mommy's, her right ear was my sleeping tablet. Even as a big boy, when I 9, 10, 11, I must lie down across mommy's lap and play with her right ear, that one, the right one. And that was it. But unfortunately, as the caller said, that seems not to be evident anymore, you know. Parents nowadays are so young that they're looking for an ear to pull. So, in case, let me not go there. Let's take this call. Good morning. We lost it. 21 minutes on to 8 o'clock. That is the time. Alistair Warwood Sr. says, some of our single parents are trying their best with their kids. They simply can't handle them, not even the teachers or the police. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. I just want to share some concerns. In fact, that caller before this last one made some very salient points when she spoke about the discipline that should start in the home, and that when a mother or a parent would discipline a child, CPA would threaten to take that child from the home rather than have some form of intervention and provide counseling and other parental training support for both parent and child. And it's a travesty because when our children are taken from us and they are placed in the homes, the problem is compounded. Because remember, the people who work in the home, they're doing a job. They don't necessarily parent, and they cannot parent our children. So you have cases, and I want to stress it for the Grenadian public, where the children, a lot of them in the homes are being sexually abused by the elder ones. So whether it's the Father Malagan home, the younger, vulnerable boys, young boys, are being lured into the toilet. They lock the door. They sexually abuse them all night for nights upon nights. And the poor boys are scared to speak because they would be bullied to the extreme by those who are gang members, because they say they have a gang, a blood gang in Faramaragan home. And when it is reported, the child would be moved and perhaps placed to sleep in the office on a mattress on the floor. And you find that the matter is being thrown under the concrete. So what we find is that a lot of these children are living in the homes. They are living in painful, traumatized situation. If they go back home to be integrated with their parents, they do not know how to do so. They're filled with fear and apprehension and innocence. I have the evidence. And CPA is doing a disservice. They're doing damage to our children. We need interventionists. She also mentioned that the school system has a lot to do with it. I have seen bullying. In fact, yesterday I was passing through GBSS and I saw a bigger boy bouncing. It's like, when cows used to be, they're fighting and they bounce in the forehead.
As inspector say, like two bull cow they fighting?
And I had to stop, and the poor little boy, the others were laughing like it's a joke. And I'm saying, hello, you need to stop it. It is bullying, and it should not be tolerated in our school. Sometimes we see those things and we pass by as if nothing happened. You go to the home, the Bel Air home, and I have the evidence of a young lady who was there. And she was telling me when a group of girls gathered in canteen, the school over, and they gathered and they're talking. She was able to point out some of the girls who live in the homes there who are lesbians, and they're taking advantage and molesting our children who are purely innocent. So when the children come from the homes there, their sexuality, according to the judge, is being compromised. It is being mixed up. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have a lot of social ills taking place in this Grenada that we are pushing under the concrete. And when the report is made, you hear statements like the perpetrator would say, the boy agree. How could a child agree and still say to his parents, I'm sleeping with one eye open, one eye closed? Every night they're molesting me. I know how to kill myself. I could throw myself in the sea. I hate Grenada. These are the statements. And we as citizens have to arise and begin to speak out against the ill and the injustices being done to our children, especially the vulnerable ones, those who do not have a voice for themselves. All this question about the bullying and the cutting of the and whatever, the children have a lot of anger. Do we stop to ask why are these things happening, stemming from the homes? They're filled with anger. So if you take a child who has been sexually abused in the home or in their own home, and you integrate them in the school system, they're integrated with everything that they came from, all the baggage, the pain, the trauma, and these children are not being counseled. And when you speak, you hear people saying, well, you go and talk, so we can't do nothing. They don't want you to speak. Cover it. And so I want to let the nation know, and you talk about the boys and whatever, you either throw them there, you put them in Bailey's Bacolet, in the juvenile center, or if there is a for the prison, you throw them there. And nobody does a thorough investigation to find out why is this child behaving the way he or she's behaving. Do you know how many of them come to the school? The teacher said, pay attention, look up here, they're looking at you. But their mind is back home for the 10th time when they were sexually abused or in the home at the third night. They're watching you, but they're not focused on you. So we have a program that we started, Daddy Come Home. The boys need their fathers. The present absentee father, the absentee father, there is a call for them to come home because a mother cannot father a son.
Well, I going home.
The boys are lacking that strong voice of authority in the home and in the society. So we started on Boss FM. It will be today from 11 to 11:30, and we're moving on to GBN.
Hold on.
And all the available medium.
Who is we?
We can address
Who is
some
we?
of these social issues with a view of finding solutions.
Who is we? Who is we?
Well, it's initiated by myself, Yvette Payne. I have people like, well, I'm talking about myself, Yvette Payne.
Is it a name?
I have people like Paul Lewis, the operations manager of Koyaba, who is a member of the Grenada Baptist Church.
Right. But is it an established?
Other persons giving different perspectives, whether biblical, psychological, social, and etc. So we were looking at it from different perspectives, and we want to open up the lines and hear from our people.
All right.
Let the people's voices be heard.
Caller, I'm trying to establish a communication line with you. Is this an established organization?
Well, it is not an established organization. It is a group of concerned persons who have seen the need for us to have that clarion call, as you will call it, to have our fathers may play a more active, integral role in the lives of the children. The daughters who are disappearing, they need a father figure home as well.
All right, I understand that. So, now, don't you think, I mean, you notice I've given you a lot of time, right? Because what you're saying is really relevant, it's current, it's something that is needed. But don't you think, seeing that you have that passion and you have people who are willing to tag with you, don't you think you should form a formal organization and be a voice? Okay, she seems to be gone. All right, caller, thank you very much. But I think that's what you should do, eh? Form a formal organization and let your voice be heard. Okay, let me take some, interact with my WhatsApp and Facebook people here. All right, someone says, good morning, Mr. Host. Once again, GBN and its newsroom seems to be placating nonsense. Tell me, why was this disrespectful individual named so-and-so was featured on the primetime news? Furthermore, this message is that of promoting infighting in an establishment that does not concern him. GBN seems to be boosting this guy's sick ego, and I say shame on you guys, and your news director should be fired for featuring such nonsense. Well, participant, as a news entity, as a broadcasting entity, we don't make the news, we just report the news, you know, and news is news, all right? Sometimes it falls in your bucket and the water splashes over. Sometimes it falls in the other bucket, you know, so that's the way it is, but You heard your voice, okay? Your voice was heard. Good morning, Gordon. I have a 14-year-old autistic son, and it is only last night I heard about the chores doctors. Now, how can I get help from him? For him, please? He really needs to see them. It is a lot for me as I am a single parent struggling. That phrase again, single parent. Okay. Well, I think the show's engagement ended yesterday, but what I suggest you do is get some information on Dr. Beverly Nelson, because she is the show's representative in Grenada. So try and get contact information and take it from there. That's a good place to start, all right? Okay, this other WhatsApp user says, good morning. The first stage in bonding is established in the hospital after birth. This should continue in the form of exclusive breastfeeding. However, some people fail to continue this after leaving hospital. Once this bond is broken too early, parents would not be able to effectively communicate with their children. Okay. All right. Yesterday, there was a school child who was laughing at an autistic child and encouraging others to laugh and move away from the child. This is abuse. I told her to stop it. They need education about these children. Okay. All right. And this person, my good friend says, the incident, regarding the incident with the students, the problem is the community raises the children. Whether positive or negative, the community has a powerful influence on children. The society has changed. One time, the society aimed at raising well-trained children. Now it is the opposite. There was always young parents and unmarried parents who did it alone. However, society's values were different, and with the extended family eroded, parents, mainly mothers, are weak and frustrated and left to struggle on their own while agencies who offer little support but go against them while the negative aspects continue and the cycle repeated. All right, let's take that call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Innocent.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Part of the problem that we face with the children these days in terms of discipline is this nonsense about child abuse. The era in which you and I would have grown up in, we were beaten, we were flogged, both at home and in school. You get licks in school and you go home and you say you get licks and you get more.
Yeah, you have to say why.
None of us died.
You have to say why you get lashed in the school.
Right, but none of us died.
Mm-mm.
Instead, we're better off today for that. But now everything is child abuse, and the child have more rights than the parents. So I just thought I should highlight that the problem begins with the system. The system needs to be changed because we're trying to do everything like America. You know, everything we want to Americanize the system and have similar, not values, but similar policies like these big nations. You know, and I think we need to probably relook and revisit this whole question of child abuse.
We need to come back home.
Pardon?
I said we need to come back home. This thing that they're perpetuating to us there now. Hence the reason why I could never go back in the classroom and teach, because anytime the student has more rights and privileges than the teacher, then what am I teaching you?
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly. We can inculcate good values in the children.
Yeah.
Now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good one. Folks, we take a final commercial break in the program. We'll be back for the wrap after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via Superb Service. We are Superb Distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love, like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibbin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegra pasta, and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
Girl, the children are growing up so fast. When I leave here, I am going to take Tevin to get his MMR vaccine.
Kayla was supposed to have another appointment for that same vaccine. But Natalie, I'm not sure. On social media, they're saying that it's not safe. Plus, I can afford to miss work.
Girl, the vaccines are safe for decades. They protect our children. You got vaccinated, and I'm sure you're all right.
Yes, but these diseases aren't out now.
Grenada is open to childhood diseases from all over the world. Today, we have a choice to get our children vaccinated or not. Go get it done, girl. It won't take long.
I suppose so. Anything for my princess.
I want to be protected.
Check your doctor or the Ministry of Health to get the information on immunization against childhood diseases, including HPV and polio, and COVID-19 for elderly persons and persons living with non-communicable diseases.
It's all about the glam with stylish new frames from Quartz Optical. Shop today for up to 50% off and pay nothing for 30 days. Book now at www.quartzoptical.com. Get the look you want at the price you need. Plus, at Quartz Optical, our eye exams are always free. So what are you waiting for? Come down and get glam. With up to 50% off selected frames. Quartz Optical. Value you can't see.
A whole new level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort,
because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
4 minutes on to 8 o'clock, and it's time for the wrap. Let's entertain just one or two callers. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
I'm going to be very short because I want to hear my BBC News every morning. I was time here,
Okay, so you're taking up your time. Talk quick.
Right. The issue with the violence of children, like I said before, and I was on the station, that it goes back to the parents. Everything begins with the home. And I hear people complaining and saying, oh, they get licks before and they was good, and now because they're beating children because children have rights. That's not so, because there's no evidence or no data to prove that what they used to do before in terms of how they treated children, and now there's no scientific evidence. So we can't say what worked 50 years ago, they should do it now. Now, I'm against corporal punishment. I'm against capital punishment. Slapping children, simply because children live what they learn. And beating up children, it is a form of violence.
Okay.
Because you're teaching children that when they have some problem, that's how you solve it. So that's why the world is violent today. So things like beating up children, no, I condemn it, because there are other ways that you could discipline children, take away the computer at a certain time, let them not go to a fair. I'm going through the whole list. I think that's discipline children. You don't have to beat up children.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Thank you for your cooperation. 3 minutes away from 8 o'clock. That is the time. And, oh boy, it's been a hectic morning. Let me see if anybody is here on. Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, good, nice. Final caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Innocent, and how are you today?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Innocent, there's one thing I want to say. You see this word single parents? This is causing children to rebel a lot. Because when they say single, oh, mommy alone can raise a boy, this is false.
Okay.
So just the word being single parents causing them trying to rebel at a very early stage. We have to fix that. Have a good day.
Mommy, where me father? All right, folks. This is where we got it. Let me just take a few on the Facebook page before we wrap up. Alison Cox Osplon says, if you can train horses without beating them, why can't you train a child without hard punishment? All right. Okay. Man, this, we need to have a lot of conversations, and in wrapping up, it is important. This is not something that we as a people can, turn a blind eye to. We need a holistic approach to deal with this. All right? It's not just parents, it's not just teachers, we need a holistic approach, all hands on deck. Whereas it might be difficult because we're in the age of technology, time have changed and everything like that. But we need each other. We need to have good relationships with each other so that I can talk to or discipline your child without us as adults getting into contention. We have to get back to that level where parents and adults respect each other so much that if one parent disciplines another parent's child, that other parent shouldn't have a problem because they are at a level where they're all seeking the same thing. But if as parents you have contentions and you have hang-ups and hookups and so forth, what do you expect the children to do? Any case, pray for Grenada, all right? I don't like, whereas we are making some, good steps in the right directions, there are some important steps that have to be made as well. And I want us to do that. Or else we might be brightening one corner and the other corners are burning. That's it for the program this morning. Those of you who participated, thank you very much. And if the good Lord spare your lives, we'll have another one tomorrow. Bye for now.